where you get the worst that you can find.
What she was pointing out is a historical problem that many black women and black people witness in very successful black male athletes and black male entertainment figures. They were marrying what many knew to be the bottom of the barrel.
What's going on, family? Mediumman here, and I'm back with another video addressing false narratives and stereotypes used against black men. And this time the foolishness is coming from Quanell X of the Foxsoul YouTube channel. And before you ask, yes, he is in fact a black man.
I gained 5 pounds, you don't me, but you get with Becky, that's 2 sizes of me.
She spoke about the weight issue, that black men will see a sister gain 7 or 8 pounds, they leave her, and they go date this white woman who's blonde-haired, blue-eyed, Miss 6 o'clock, just straight up, straight down, built like an iron board, just flat in the back, you know, subject to have the itch, mutanoid, caucasoid, white. So at the end of the day, you know, she's saying, why would you choose that? And all she's doing is going to the tanning salon to look like a black woman. She's going getting Botox in her lips, so have the big lips like a black woman. She's burning up in a sun tanning bed to look like us. Why would you want to go take that? What that black woman is talking about is the reality of black men who subconsciously hate who they are. And they feel that marrying a white woman makes them more legitimate and more of a success story in this country.
So, do black men marry obese white women because they hate themselves? No, there is no credible evidence that self-hatred drives black men to marry obese white women, or anyone else for that matter. When black men marry white women of any body type, it doesn't mean that they hate themselves. If this was actually true, then you would have an argument, because according to the Centers for Disease Control, 57.9% of black women are classified as obese, and nearly 80% of black women are overweight or obese, which is the highest among all racial and gender groups in the United States.
It is an issue with black women and weight in our community.
I gained 5 pounds, you don't me, but you get with Becky, that's 2 sizes of me.
Cultural trends and studies show that black men, on average, are more accepting of curvier or plus-size women than white men, which can influence dating patterns. And with black women being more statistically comfortable with their body image when overweight or obese, this actually explains why 79% of married black men are married to black women. So if black men were choosing to marry plus-size white women, even though there's an abundance of black women who meet those requirements, then you'd be onto something. But since it's not true, your claim is a severe overgeneralization that oversimplifies and distorts the complex reasons behind romantic attraction, relationships, and marriage to appease the black community as a collective as to why black men decide to marry out.
I gained 5 pounds, you don't me, but you get with Becky, that's 2 sizes of me.
This stereotype is circulated in parts of pop culture and social media, often as a critique within and about the black community. It's rooted in racial trauma, colorism, and internalized oppression, but most importantly, it leads to misinformation, anecdotal assumptions, and the complete misunderstandings of love, attraction, and partnership dynamics among black men and white women. It seems as that Quanell X has decided to regurgitate social media talking points instead of doing the research on the topic that he's speaking on, all in an attempt to go viral. So if that was your intent, I pray that this statistical thrashing makes you more famous, brother.
CMB, man, we all we got. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am.
Every time a conversation like this comes up, black men detractors fail to address the reasons why my brothers decide to marry out. And no, it has nothing to do with other races of women being more beautiful, more feminine, and more agreeable. Black men marry out for many reasons, including shared values, a woman's personality, similar interests, love, emotional connection, and respect for one another. I could go on, but I'll leave it there. So let's start with the facts. The dynamics of interracial marriage among black Americans, and more specifically, the differences in marital patterns between black men and black women, begins and ends with the facts. According to recent data from the U.S. Census and Pew Research Center, black men are more likely to be married than black women. In 2023, about 36% of black men were married, compared to only 29% of black women. That gap matters, but it's only part of the story. When we look deeper into who black men and women are marrying, the picture becomes even more revealing. In 2021, 85% of married black men had a black wife, while the remaining 15% were married to non-black women, with 8% married to white women, 4% to Hispanic women, and 3% to other races of women. Now compare that to black women. 93% of black women had a black husband, and only 7% were married outside of their race. Among those, just 6.5% were married to white men. And barely 0.5% of married white men in America have a black wife. This clearly shows a pattern. Black men are marrying outside their race at more than double the rate of black women. Among newlyweds, it's even sharper. Among newlyweds, the disparity is even sharper. 24% of black men are intermarried compared to just 12% of black women. This gender gap in interracial marriage isn't new. It's been around for decades and continues to grow. To be clear, most black men still marry black women, and vice versa, but the rate at which black men marry non-black women is significantly higher than the reverse. Currently, 1 out of every 5 married black men today is married to someone who is not black. This information matters because these patterns actually help explain broader trends, such as why black women have lower marriage rates and how interracial marriage dynamics shape the family structures within the black community. The data presented challenges a lot of assumptions and also brings up complex questions about our culture, dating dynamics, social integration, and the long-standing effects of race and gender in America. And again, let me be clear. This isn't about blame. It's about understanding. Understanding that love, partnership, and marriage are deeply influenced by history, opportunity, and social realities.
The historical problem that many black women and black people witness in very successful black male athletes and black male entertainment figures is that when they started marrying outside the race, they were marrying what many knew to be the bottom of the barrel. Too many brothers are choosing based on physical characteristics. The reality of black men who subconsciously hate who they are, and they feel that marrying a white woman makes them more legitimate and more of a success story in this country. Too many brothers are choosing based on physical characteristics.
Mr. Quanell X, if you want to have an honest conversation about black marriage within the black community, you have to start with the truth and not just perceptions and social media talking points that degrade black men's ethnic image by diminishing their ability to select their wives.
The majority of black men who have white women as spouses, they don't take the cream of the crop of white women. That's a fact. They don't do that. You have more black women. Let me say this. You have more black women when they marry white men, they take the cream of the crop of white men because they're smart in the selection process. Because when black women choose a white man, she's really choosing based on the reality of the long-term relationship.
That was crazy. Do black women who marry white men typically marry those men who make over $100,000 or who are considered the upper echelon of their community? Short answer,
hell no.
However, when black women do marry white men, they tend to marry white men with higher income and education levels compared to the national average. But the $100,000 a year mark is significantly above the U.S. median annual income of $59,000. So that is why the assumption of black women marrying higher earning white men is not true. It is more accurate to say that when white men marry black women, they are earning above average income, but significantly lower than $100,000 a year. And before Quanell X and black women celebrate, interracial marriages between black women and white men are relatively rare, 0.5%. It's so rare that the pairing ranks the lowest among all race/gender pairings.
The majority of black men who have white women as spouses, they don't take the cream of the crop of white women. That's a fact. They don't do that. But far too often, it was black men who were marrying white women who were not even remotely close to the successful standard that they were financially, and that they could do better. Don't choose from the bottom of the barrel.
Do black men who marry white women tend to marry less accomplished or bottom of the barrel white women? It's crazy that I even have to say this, but no. This is a stereotype that has been perpetuated by pro-black pundits and black men who tend to overlook the reasons why black men marry out. But there is some nuance about this stereotype that's worth mentioning. Interracial marriages between black men and white women is the most common black/white pairing in the US. Some data suggests that black men who marry white women often have lower levels of education and income than their white spouses, but definitely not always. No studies or statistics show that white women and these parents are considered bottom of the barrel. That phrase implies a value judgment based on race and class that isn't supported by the data and simply rooted in racism.
I find it shocking in today's day and age how it is okay for racialized pejoratives. Here it was the term Becky, which is a negative term referred to white women.
A common white woman's name, Becky.
Right, but it's now a racial pejorative used oftentimes by black women to describe white women in a derogatory fashion. And I don't understand why racism is okay now. But I mean, I understand because of this popular myth that black people can't be racist. Well, of course they can.
Yes, black people can be racist.
And they go date this white woman who's blonde haired, blue eyed, Miss 6 o'clock, just straight up, straight down, built like an iron board, just flat in the back, you know, subject to have the itch, mutanoid, caucasoid, white.
And this is a prime example. Lastly, I encourage everyone to fact check every data point that I reference. The next time that anyone attempts to degrade black men on a public platform and spew misinformation, just know that there will always be a black man over here who's watching and prepared to protect black men's ethnic image, even if the lies, false narratives, and overall hatred comes from another black man. Peace.